want to jump right into it? Tell us how deathfly effects get started.
Yeah, for sure. Well, deathfly effects started about a year ago, actually. I just kind of got to this point because I'm a musician. I play guitar and I do play bass. And, I was spending a lot of money on pedals. Yep. And I got to the point where I was kind of like, kind of want to start making my own pedals. There was a few pedals that I bought, and you always have that quest for that pedal, that tone, like everything. And I was just like, I could never quite get exactly what I wanted. So I just figured, I'm spending all this money. It's never any quest, and I'm going to delve into this. I'm going to make my own pedals. So I basically just, I found the most simple circuit. I mean, I didn't even know how to solder, and I watched a YouTube video on how to solder. I found a simple circuit. I had, a little bit of trouble at first. Didn't really realize you had to ground everything.
Sure.
So once I figured that, the rest was just history. So I started out with the bass fuzz, got that going, and then I just started challenging myself and like just getting into forums and reading about like schematics and components and like what parts of the pedal do things and what affects what, and I added a gain stage to my simple fuzz, and then after that I figured out how to put a tone stack in there. And I started making these on strip board actually, and then I just started challenging myself and building more pedals and more complicated things, and then I got a one knob fuzz, the Color Sound one knob, and I did my own thing with that, kind of based it off of a couple other pedals. And one of my friends really liked it, and he asked me if I could make one for him, so I did. And then another guy asked me if I could make one for him, so I did. Yep. And then I figured, well, I might as well, start an Instagram page and get this out there. And for the first 9 months, it was kind of like a hobby for me. It was just kind of casually doing it. And as I progressed and learned, I started making, other pedals too, like delays and reverbs and, and then in the summer, I kind of took a little break. I took a month off. I rode my motorcycle across the country, which I kind of needed that. And I saw a lot of people that I didn't see in a long time. And one of my friends is an artist, and they made a recommendation to me about, etching. And she was like, why aren't you etching your enclosures? And I was like, I don't want to deal with the chemicals. And so she basically told me, like, no, you use this stuff called ferric chloride, and it's not that bad at all. So give it a shot. So after my trip, I got home and I kind of reprioritized things and started experimenting with etching. And then, because this chemical that I use to do my enclosures is also the same chemical you can use to etch PCBs, I just thought, why am I making pedals on strip board? I mean, it takes so much time. It's great, but it takes a lot of time. I might as well start etching my own PCBs. So I learned how to do that, and I started etching my enclosures, and I did a pedal called Alchemist, and that was something that I'd worked on for quite a long time, just developing it and, just picking the things that I wanted in it and that I thought would make it a really good pedal. And that was my first etched enclosure pedal. And after I released that, things started to go really well. Like I started getting more followers, and people started to take notice of what I was doing, and so I kind of started to take a little more seriously. And then I changed up my etching process, and I did a different style etch on Alchemist, and I released that. And after I released that one, that's when it really took off, and just the amount of amazing messages and positive feedback I got from people, it just gave me I don't even know the word for it. It was just like, I knew I had to do this as a business. So I had decided at that point that this is what I am going to do. So I am like fully invested in Deathfly Effects now as my company. And like I say, after I released the last run of Alchemist, things have just been amazing. Like my followers have doubled on Instagram, and I've had some really amazing people approach me, about doing some collaborations on pedals and stuff. And it's been really, really cool. The pedals for me, inside and out, it's my art, and it is. I had a guy tell me, he said, I really love what you're doing because it's a functional piece of art, and everything I do on the outside is the etching it's always going to be different. Like what you get isn't going to be the same as what another guy gets. I mean, they will be similar, but there's always going to be little differences. So none of my pedals will cosmetically look the same, and that's one thing I really like about it too, because I just love different and original things. Inside it's all the same.
Right.
But inside as well is my art too, because that's one thing too that's really important to me is when I buy a pedal, the first thing I do is I open it up and I look at the guts.
Yeah.
And if you look at the guts and it's like a rat's nest of wires and stuff, it's kind of crazy, and that's one thing I've learned as well, is just how to wire everything and make it look nice, because when you're building on the PCBs, a lot of the ones that I'm making uses a lot of wires. So you kind of gotta, like measure a lot, cut a lot, trim a lot, tin a lot, which brings me to the next thing. I'm making the change to manufacture boards, because it just takes so long to get these things together. And, I this is a business, and I do this because I love it, and I just want to share this with people, but it's also got to support me and my family from a financial aspect. So I had to make the choice to get manufactured boards, because now I can mount all my pots in there. It saves me time on cutting and trimming 130 pieces of wire for pots for 10 pedal.
Right.
So yeah.
There's nothing wrong with PCB based pedals. That's what a lot of stuff is these days. So
yeah, because like my goal too is to at the beginning, like when I started to take this seriously, was I thought I really want to give everybody just that handmade, old school, unique pedal experience. Like your pedals, everything's handmade. Like I've done everything on this. I don't design the PCB layouts. That's one thing I do not do. I'm learning it. I'm starting with some small things, but right now I don't do that design. I do all the like component testing and all the modifications to the circuits I use. But I wanted to make everything myself, and just kind of like the old days. But then once you see how much time it actually takes, I kind of had to sit back and think, well, what can I not make that's still going to retain my handmade quality, and the fact that it is a handmade, hand-wired pedal. And I just felt that having a manufactured PCB would save me a lot of time, and then it gives me more time to really focus on the etching and all the other kind of stuff, right? Like the art and the thought that I am putting in the pedals. And like some of my pedals, I'll just go back to my deathfly, but once in a while I get a pedal idea, and I just know it needs some different art. So that's the thing with me. Like you never know what's going to be on my next pedal. It could be art. It could be my deathfly and a name. And maybe the next version, the layout might change. Like my one knob, I haven't made any in a while, and I went back and revisited that, and it's a great pedal. It's just so dark, and I kind of thought, well, what can I do to make this a little more versatile? Because it's great on bass, it's great on guitar, but it's dark. So I added a cap switch in there to switch it between some input caps. So now, if you don't like it as dark, you can flick that switch, and it's a lot, lets a lot more of the highs in for guitar. So it sounds really good for guitar, Because when I first made it, I was thinking about myself and what I liked, which is what I primarily do. But now I'm more kind of thinking too, is it's like, well, it's not always about what I like. So, like, I do want to make things that I like and hope that people would like it. But I'm also now starting to think, well, broaden the audience a bit. So what can I do to make this pedal a little more versatile? So if there's somebody that's like me, they're going to like that. If there's someone that wants it, with a little more highs, they're going to like that. Yeah. So it just opens it up to more audience, right? Yeah, I have the same thing. It's like, for me, I don't want to build something that I wouldn't put on my pedal board, exactly. and that I wouldn't use.
So because you're really making that, you're the vetting process right there. You design it, you test it out. Yeah. Does this work for me? And then you kind of take it from there.
Yeah, and I am also very fortunate because I do know a lot of guitar players and bass players, so I am able to I do pass my pedals along to a lot of my friends to test out and get their thoughts. And I like all my friends, they play totally different styles, so I get thoughts from just guitar players that play different styles of music, so it's quite helpful. So
That's great. What's the feedback been? You know, deathfly is a relatively new company, so what's the feedback for you been like overall so far?
Man, lately it is just amazing. I am so thankful for all the just people have been so kind and positive, and you know, it's funny too though, because I'm starting to get questions about endorsements and stuff, and I didn't know anything about endorsements, and then I spent a couple hours reading about endorsements, and what they entail, and it's really interesting, and it kind of opened my eyes up to some things, and I was like, interesting, because I can't offer any endorsements right now because I'm one man. I do small runs. Like, I make 10 pedals at a time. I'm building them on my kitchen counter. I don't have a bunch of people working with me, so I just can't offer endorsements. But it's pretty cool that people, would actually ask you, hey, I like your stuff. Endorsement, So, yeah. It's got to be a mutually beneficial relationship, though. So I would advise, though, anybody that's thinking about asking a pedal maker for an endorsement, do some research. Mm-hmm. There's some really amazing articles, and before you approach somebody, do some research and just read up on it. And if you're a builder as well, and you have people endorse you, if you have people approach you about doing endorsements, read up. Like, you just got to Google it, and there's some really great articles that will give you some good information on that. But it's really cool. I'm getting lots of amazing messages, and from people all over the world too. Wow. I mean, I just sent a pedal off to the UK. I just sent 2 down to Dallas. I had a guy from Greece message me, one guy from Romania. Wow. It is so amazing, especially, you guys are on the other side of the country, and we're able to communicate, we're able to talk, and, it's awesome. It's pretty cool, like the way that we do business now. Like, the world is just totally changing with online. I also do not really promote myself on any other social media other than Instagram. Mm-hmm. I do have a Facebook page, but Facebook for me is just by the wayside. I do all my promotion on Instagram, and that's it. I've just started a YouTube channel that it's been around for a while, but I never posted anything on it, so I'm going to start making more use of my YouTube channel as well. But like Instagram, that's all I've done, and it's just been amazing. Like, I think I'm at like 900 followers now, which is pretty awesome for a kid that couldn't solder a year ago. Yeah.
And sounds like it's been quite the ride.
Yeah, and the other thing too is, I'm learning so much, and like I say too, meeting people. I got in contact with another amazing guy, Niels from Moon Electronics, and he is from Germany, and we work together on doing my PCB layouts, and he does a lot of my PCB layouts for me, because he is just like, he knows his stuff, and he's able to help me and teach me some things about some things that I don't know about, and he's really quick and just amazing, and he loves the ideas that I come up with, and so he's doing some stuff for me as well, and I think it'll be a long partnership with him, because eventually I would love to do my own layouts, but at the end of the day, you kind of gotta pick and choose, like, how much of this am I going to do, because I am going to be a one-man operation for a while, and my focus is building pedals. So,
So with that, we've just entered the new year here, 2021. So what's on the horizon for Deathfly this year?
2021 is going to be amazing for Deathfly. I've got a collaboration in the works with a local band. I really love these guys. I can't say the name, but we came up with a pretty wild pedal based off The Alchemist. We did a bunch of changes to it and did some stuff, and you'll be able to use it on bass and guitar, because the guy in this band is a bass player, so that's what he wanted. I also have a collaboration in the works with another pedal maker who is a really amazing guy, and he makes some really cool pedals, so we're doing a joint venture. And I have 3 more pedals in the works.
Really?
Yeah, nice. I've got one that I just literally finished the artwork for, like the layout and all that kind of stuff, and I'm just working on a name. and I'm going to be prototyping it today. And it's really cool. Like I'm simple, so I love simple things, and it's just a one knob overdrive slash distortion. But it's just got that sound, you know, when you hear something, you're just like, I've got to do something with this, you know?
I love one knob pedals. I'm for me, it's like max 2 knobs. Occasionally I'll buy something that's really, really complicated and I'll love it too. But one knob pedals for me are just my favorite. Super easy and to the point.
Even Alchemist was a little overkill for me. Like, after looking at it, I was like, man, I put a lot of stuff on this thing, you know.
Still awesome,
but it suits the pedal because it gives it so much variety. And with Methuselah, I decided to dial it back. I wanted just to go back to 3 knobs, and I put the tone cap switch in there. So, because it is based off a muff circuit, and I've never been a huge fan of the original muff tone, and I just wanted to put, you know, the classic tone switch in there. A lot of people like that. It's, you know, your scoop mids, boost mids, and stock. And I play it on the boosted mids thing, you know. And I also hardwired a boost at the front of it because I just always felt that muffs never had enough volume on tap. You know, I switched out the clipping diodes. I put, you know, silicon diodes are great for gain. But I really like LEDs, and I threw green LEDs in there, and it just opened this thing up. Like, less compression, less gain, but just really opened it up. But the thing is to compensate that, you put a boost at the front of it, and it brings your gain back. So now you've kind of got that amount, that silicon diode amount of gain, but with that less compressed sound, and you still got the volume, right? If that makes any sense.
Totally.
It does. I think we've both had our experiences with big muffs, and in mine anyway, it always seems like as soon as you step on it, you get a perceived volume drop, and it's almost like you looped it, you know. So that's awesome that you're doing something to kind of counteract some of that.
Yeah, I mean, because every change that you make in a pedal is going to affect something along the line. So it's kind of like, you know, how can I change this but also retain this? And, you know, like, I have always played in loud bands, and I'm half deaf because I never wore earplugs for 15 years, you know, when I jammed and played shows. But I love being loud. It's what I feel, and I just love that feeling of loud instruments. And I've had pedals before too, where, you know, you've got your clean channel, because I am a clean channel based player, and I put my effects on that. I don't like play on a drive channel and then overlay my stuff. And when you hit that pedal, you get volume drop, and it's like, it's not supposed to be like that.
Yeah, exactly.
And I do find one thing with the muff is I always had to have that thing pinned. So put a boost in front of it.
Yeah. Good tip.
Awesome.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be a complicated boost. It can be really simple.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Excellent.
So another kind of off-topic question, but you mentioned earlier you rode your motorcycle across the country. What kind of bike?
It was a 2002 Sportster 883.
Very nice. Very nice.
He's got a Sportster.
Yeah, I rode that thing all the way out to Quebec, and then I went all the way out. On the way back, I went all the way out to Vancouver Island, because I grew up on Vancouver Island, and my mom is still there, and I've got family in Victoria.
Yeah.
And it was funny. I remember when I was in Sudbury, there was a guy, and he looked at me. He was like, "Did you seriously ride that thing all the way here from Alberta?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm here, right?" He goes, "Man, you're effing hardcore." And I got a lot of people kept saying that to me. They were just like, "Did you really ride that from Alberta?" Like, just in disbelief that I rode a Sportster across Canada. But I'm a small guy. I'm 5'4" and 3/4", and I weigh about 120 pounds. So for me, it was just nothing. And, you know, I took what I could fit in my tank bag for clothes and a sleeping bag. And then my brother and his wife bought me a tent, actually, because I was just going to motorcycle tarp it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But awesome. It was an amazing trip. And it's funny because it was, you know, this summer it was all quarantine. You know, everything was locked down.
Yep.
So there wasn't a lot of traffic on the roads. And, you know, I'm super thankful to live in Canada. You know, it is just, I've never been out east before, and it's such a beautiful country, you know. and the people that I met along the way were just amazing. I had people buying me water, and one guy even gave me his phone number, said if I ever broke down near Sault Ste. Marie, give him a call, he'd come pick me up. A lot of my friends were like, aren't you scared that people are going to get mad at you for being in their province? And I was like, no, I encountered nothing but kindness and generosity on my trip, and it was amazing, awesome. And good weather.
Ooh, yeah.
Even better.
I got soaked twice in Ontario, and that was it.
Not bad, man.
Once it was crazy. Going into Ontario, as soon as I crossed the border, just completely monsooned, and then coming out, in between Sault Ste. Marie and Thunder Bay, I got soaked. About 3-hour downpour. It was awesome.
All right, we ready to jump into the speed round portion of the interview?
You know what? The speed round is my favorite. I love the speed round.
Oh, the speed round is great. Let me grab my notes here. All right.
Okay.
So, Trevor, you're a fuzz guy. Tone bender or fuzz face?
Tone bender.
Humbucker or P90?
Humbucker.
Silicon or germanium?
Oh man, you're stumping me. I use both. It depends if we're talking diodes or transistors.
There you go. See, now you're taking it to another level, man.
Yeah, because transistors in Methuselah, I use both. I got germanium and silicon. I would prefer silicon diodes, though. If I had to choose over germanium diodes.
Strat or Telly? I know
Telly.
That's one. Yeah, you're a Telly guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sneakers or boots?
Boots.
Fender or
Boots.
Marshall?
Fender.
Flying V or an Explorer?
Explorer.
Yeah.
Big Muff Pie or Ram's Head?
Ram's Head.
No doubt.
AC30 or JTM 45?
AC30.
Les Paul Jr. or an Esquire?
Ooh. Les Paul Jr.
Good choice. And lastly, coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Good choice, man.
Excellent.
All right.
Trevor, this was great.
I do like tea, though.
Yeah.
I got some pretty killer lavender chamomile. I drink that before I go to bed.
Yeah, I drink sleepy kind of tea.
When you're getting older, when you're not getting bombed before you go to bed, and you're brewing up some lavender chamomile.
Yeah. Well, I think we're all at the point. It's like, all right, put the kids to bed and have some nice herbal tea before we hit the sack.
Maybe I'll get to play some zombies if my son's not playing. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, well, Trevor, that's all we got for you, man.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much. This has been amazing. I appreciate this.
Thank you so much. Thank you for taking the time to do it with us for a second time. So
yeah, you know what? Everything happens. Always happens for a reason. So, sometimes you lose stuff and got to redo it. So.
But I finally figured out that I should get an external hard drive, and I should check all my shit that it has space before I do an interview with somebody.